Jerusalem is modern, ancient, it's hectic, patient. Jerusalem is a beauty to behold. Its walls are old and domes are gold. Jerusalem is spicy, dynamic, it's iconic, panoramic. Jerusalem is inspiring, unique, it's simple and chic. Jerusalem is brimming with styles, vibrant, charismatic, abundant smiles. Cobblestone streets, colored with sweets. Eclectic orchestra of authentic beats. It's the shoot, the basta, the shawarma. It's all about good karma. It's people, gates and views, culture, art and muse. Jerusalem is tradition, innovation. It's about openness, recreation. It's a city, destination, a goal. Jerusalem is how it feels to behold. It's the knowledge, the courage, the drive to create. It's the source, the spirit, the reflection of faith. Jerusalem is Israel. It's Mediterranean chill. Jerusalem is real.
Hi everyone. It is so nice to see, well, I would like to see all of you, so if you can open up your cameras and even write where you're from so we can say hello to each other. My name is Naama Speter, and I am the director of the Division of Graduate Studies at the Hebrew University, the Roten International School. I'm very happy to be here in the virtual to open the virtual day of the our MA program in Smart Cities and Urban Informatics, which takes place here in Jerusalem. Thank you for choosing to be with us this evening. I hope you choose to study with us, and I am already looking forward to welcome you in Jerusalem. And now I would like to invite Professor Danny Felsenstein, the head of the program, to speak. Professor Felsenstein, the floor is yours.
Okay, so good evening or good morning, good night, whatever the case may be. I am Danny Felsenstein. I'm the academic director of the Hebrew University MA in Smart Cities and Urban Informatics. And I'm just going to take a few minutes to lead you through the program, just to talk about a word or two about what smart cities are and what urban informatics is all about. Then just to talk about the goals, the motivations, the expectations that we have, that you might have, a word or two about the structure, and then just a few examples of where we're going. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint with everybody now. So a word or two about smart cities and urban informatics, and then I'll get into the nitty-gritty of what we're offering. So what are smart cities? And what is urban informatics for that matter? So smart cities is a bit of a buzzword that the whole world is using at the moment. It comes to convey a desire to make the cities more livable places where people can realize their full potential, and places that allow for economic growth while improving the quality of life of their citizens. So those two things don't always jive together, but a smart city manages to achieve these two goals in a smart way. So what's smart about a smart city? Number one, smart cities are smart in their planning. So of course, we'll be touching a bit on the topic of urban planning. Number two, smart cities are smart in the provision of urban services, and cities do a lot of providing of services to their residents. And number three, smart cities are smart in the systems that they operate. Cities operate a lot of systems, transportation systems and public health systems and economic systems and road systems and even legal systems. And in order to do those in an efficient and beneficial way, cities need to harness new technologies. So smart cities is about improving urban quality of life using cutting-edge technology. Now, what about urban informatics? So urban informatics is basically the toolbox that allows you to achieve those goals of making your city smart. So we're talking about a suite of tools or methods that are somewhat quantitative, and computational that allow cities to analyze data, to generate data in creative ways, to incorporate citizens in this goal. And as a result, the city becomes enmeshed in a web of generating information. And to a certain extent, the citizens of the city are active components in creating this basis. So urban informatics is basically the fuel on which smart cities run. The software which forms an infrastructure of the city. And the combination of these two things basically allows us to generate future cities and improve the quality of life and the livability of these urban spaces. So that's just a couple of words of our title, which is Smart Cities and Urban Informatics. These two things go hand in hand. They're coupled together. You can't have one without the other. Now, what are we trying to achieve in our program? This is an exciting program. It's unique in as much as very few universities worldwide, in fact, offer a master's degree in smart cities and urban informatics. So our mission basically is to generate, to train a new generation of urbanists, people who are engaged in cities, engaged in ideas of making urban spaces more livable, increasing the quality of life in cities, and to allow or empower, in fact, practitioners to be able to deal with the challenges and the some of the pitfalls, in fact, of smart city development. So, making this slightly more concrete, what does this involve? This involves, number one, training in some analytic skills, which I mentioned before, some computational skills, some quantitative skills and qualitative skills. And as a result, when you leave this program, hopefully you'll go out to the labor market with a toolkit of tradable skills that you will then be able to administer in your individual cities, in individual urban environments that will contribute to improving the livability and quality of life of your neighbors and fellow citizens. Now, about our program specifically, it's an English language program. It takes 1 year. It spans 2 semesters, 2 14-week semesters, and all told, you have to amass. All told, you need 32 credit points in order to graduate. So this is quite a lean program. In other words, minimal in terms of the amount of credit points you need. The first semester is essentially devoted towards creating the knowledge infrastructure, because we appreciate that people will be coming from different backgrounds and with different skill sets. So the first semester will be involved in what we call the core courses and a few methods and tool courses. And in the second semester, you will be studying the rest of the methods and tool courses and various electives. The courses themselves are a mixture of theory and practical work, qualitative and computational methods. We'll be using Jerusalem as our urban lab, and Jerusalem is one of the most vibrant, unique urban environments globally, so it's an exciting place in which to study. And also the way we teach, especially in the course, in a program like this, is obviously fully frontal classroom teaching, but we try to get out of the classroom at every opportunity, which means there will be what we call some field courses, which will have people going on tours, which might involve data gathering using some fancy technological tools like drones and GPS devices in order to generate data outside the classroom. So there is a classroom environment, and there's also an outside the classroom environment, and that's an integral part of this course. There will, of course, also be lab classes because some of the courses have a slightly technical nature. So here's just a smorgasbord of examples of courses, the kind of things you're likely to run into. We have various introductory courses, and the first 4 items on this laundry list are basically introductory courses. And then we have a bunch of slightly more technical courses, which involve the use of some fancy technologies. And then some thematic courses dealing with transportation, smart energy, simulating urban spaces, and the final piece de resistance of the degree program is what we call a project, in which you'll be asked to show or to illustrate your prowess in administering some of these technologies in what we call the project of technologies for managing smart cities. So there's a wide range of courses. A lot of these are just tastes. The idea is to get you interested, and afterwards, once you've graduated, each person will be able to expand their skill sets in a way that is most relevant to them. But we give a broad brush approach to smart cities. I should perhaps mention that we are in the social science faculty at the Hebrew University, and therefore we take a social science perspective on smart cities. We don't take an engineering perspective or a computer science perspective, but given the fact that our subject matter is smart cities, we cannot avoid some kind of interconnection with these other fields as well. But essentially our degree is geared towards people with non-technical backgrounds who are interested in improving some of their skill sets and capabilities in the technical field, and are people who are passionate and very interested in cities and improving quality of life in cities, and who want to be at the forefront of the technological revolution which we are all experiencing. Now, why Hebrew University? And why Jerusalem? So as I mentioned before, our degree is unique, especially in the landscape of Israeli universities, but even worldwide. There aren't too many MA programs globally, and this is the only program of its kind in Israel. The labor market advantages for someone who comes out of this program, we expect to be very considerable. There's a lot of demand for people with the kinds of skills and capabilities that you will receive in this program. Our degree leverages the joint strengths of 2 other programs that exist at present at Hebrew University, Hebrew language programs. One is a program in urban planning, an MA program, and the other is a Informatics track. So we've combined the best from those 2 programs in order to generate this new English language 1-year MA degree in smart cities. As I mentioned previously, Jerusalem is a particularly unique and exciting urban laboratory, a great beta site for lots of things you'll be learning in a classroom environment. You can just basically step outside and experience them and see them live in the city itself. Jerusalem also, despite its ancient city, public profile, it has a vibrant high-tech ecosystem, which hopefully we'll be able to link into within the framework of the program. And hopefully you'll have a great study abroad year with new experiences and come out of it with a master's degree after 1 year. So as I mentioned, the Hebrew University of Jerusalem is part of a wider knowledge ecosystem that exists in the city, which includes a bunch of academic institutions, NGOs, community organizations, research institutions, world-class hospitals, and so on. There's a vibrant high-tech and venture capital and incubator network in Jerusalem, as I wrote down here, 650 companies and 15,000 workers. There's a lot of exciting innovation-based programs that exist in the city and in the university itself. Hopefully you will be exposed to some of these within the course of the program. And Hebrew University itself is a world-ranked global universities. The Roten International School has a long history of running successful programs for foreign students with a extremely extensive support system and many years of experience in attracting and housing and accommodating students from abroad. So finally, job prospects and what happens when we all grow up and graduate. What do we do with our degrees? So there's a wealth of job market opportunities, both in the public and the private sectors. I've listed some of them here. This is true both in Israel and worldwide. Local and central government agencies are dying for people with the skill sets that we hope to train you in fields such as housing, infrastructure development, energy, and so on. In the private sector, there's many opportunities in consultancy companies, in business management, in data analytics, in anything to do with land development, real estate, housing, and so on. And there's a lot of cutting edge, small firms, startups that's moving into the world of mapping, tracking, location-based services, alternative energy sources, the whole world of autonomous vehicles and driverless cars, green construction, and you name it, they're all there, and they all need to have this kind of skill sets that hopefully you will gain within the course of your 1 year at Hebrew University. So I think I've basically run through everything that I wanted to say at this stage. Obviously, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, throw a query through the chat, contact me by email. You can access the program website, and that'll lead you directly to me. I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible, and as we say, next academic year in Jerusalem. And now I hand over to Dr. Roten Baror, who's one of our faculty members, who you will be meeting in person, hopefully in the classroom, next year. Roten, it's all yours.
All right. So, hi everyone. Very excited to meet you all. It's very appreciated these days with all the difficulties and what's going on that we can see each other. So let me first present myself, and then I'm going to give a couple of slides with a bit of a taste of what's going to be here next year. So I'm basically my educational background is from the sciences. I undergraduate in physics, and then I studied atmospheric sciences, and I did my PhD at Weizmann Institute in environmental remote sensing. I also worked at MIT studying climate and policymaking, and I spent a couple of years in the private sector as a chief scientist of high-tech companies and startups before joining the Department of Geography in the Hebrew U. So as you can figure, I started in the analytical and computational and hard science part of the academy. And somewhere down the road, I crossed the lines towards social sciences and started studying humans instead of nature. Both are fascinating, by the way, but I'm just going to present my very 2 cents about why is it so exciting and what's going on with smart cities and the things that we are going to see next year. So perfect. Okay. So as Danny mentioned, in smart cities, we have the part of urbanization, cities as we know them, this place that gathers people and citizens. And on the other hand, we have the technology. So to begin with, about urbanization, in the recent decades or so, there was some kind of a transition. And today, actually, most people live in cities. I'm sure I'm not the first one to mention that, and you know that, but here you can see a plot showing two lines. So the blue lines showing actually the amount of people in the world that live in rural areas like villages, small towns, etc., and the urban population, which increases almost exponentially, very rapidly. And there was a tipping point around 2008 where actually most of humanity became citizens of cities. So this is one thing to note. And if we're looking on the spatial distribution of this percentage, and this is an animation showing actually the percentage of people live in urbanized environment. So you can see that also if you look at the spatial spread around the world, it also penetrates developing countries, and there's actually a trend that is overtaking the whole world. Okay, almost in anything we're going to do in this program, we are going to look on the spatial distribution because geospatial data is actually what we're most interested in. So this is very interesting thing to see. And on the other hand, there is, of course, the growth of technology. And there was a great outbreak and breakthrough of technology in the last 2 or 3 decades. And we're talking a boom, you know, it started at the .NET, the .com period in the beginning of the millennium. And of course, the trend is accelerating. Information and data streams are actually sourced from billions of sensors and digital devices anywhere, in our mobiles, in our watches, sometimes in our wearables, if you have Google glasses or similar stuff. And the input amounts are enormous. So in addition, you can also see the growth. That's actually a plot I borrowed from the Israeli Innovation Authority, showing 3 waves of information growth. So there's the wave of computing. The computation power is actually accelerating, and it reaches levels of we didn't know. You know, our mobile phones, our smartphones are actually much more powerful than the supercomputers of the 90s that you had to sell only for certain countries in order for them to not use for, I don't know, nuclear simulations or so. There is the wave of connectivity. So after the introduction of the internet and the web, there came again around 2008, the iPhone and all these smartphones. So all this networking data is now very mobile. And we take the endpoints of these huge networks everywhere. And I'm sorry, that's the blue line. And there's of course a wave of connectivity. It started with you know, army and governmental networks, and of course it became to be the internet. And today, each and every one of us has its own network and Wi-Fi back home. So in all of these aspects, there's a tremendous growth of data, and everything is becoming data-driven. On the other hand, we have to remember, and this is where social sciences get in, that all this data boom and the data-driven environment we live in actually changed the way we use the city. So we walk differently, we use transportation differently, we sometimes communicate differently. And needless to say that all the economic system also behaves differently as data expands and takes over. So when we talk about cities and smart cities, we want, as Danny said, to leverage this technological infrastructure and create a better place and sustainable place for us, actually, for humans in their most common environment for our well-being. So all these ICT, information and communication technologies, are already merged into cities and homes. I just wanted to give a very brief image showing what we call the Internet of Things. So here you can see, pictures of many things, from your home, rooms, backyard, working place, offices, and everything. And surprisingly, today, each and every one of them can actually connect to the network, transfer information, transfer digital information and data, and actually contribute to this smart city and smart environment that we're talking about. All right, so about the multidiscipline, about how many disciplines and fields are involved. So as I said, I came originally from the field of the science and technology, and we are now located in the Faculty of Social Sciences. And that's actually the perfect place for a smart city center to live in because it serves humans. But the technological factors, actually, we cannot neglect them. And also, as mentioned before to begin with, some of the courses are going to be computational, analytical. The purpose is to give tools for geospatial data scientists for analysis and decision making based on data, because everything should be data driven. All right. And another point is that, you know, this smart city thing, as buzzword as it sounds, it's already here. It's a reality already emerging. We all live in smart cities, you know, in some sense, whether you can see it or not, because the infrastructure, you know, the old infrastructure is there, roads, power lines, transportation and everything, but the technology is usually invisible. But if you think about it for a second or two, you can actually realize that it already penetrated your homes, your life in a very, very significant way. All right, yeah. So just two slides, if I have 2 minutes, just to show you some examples of things we are going to study, and, you know, examples of smart cities and data used for urban informatics. So the first one is actually for autonomous vehicles. So if we have autonomous vehicles and everything is digitized and connected to the network, so these cars are also maybe used as an input source, as a data source. And here, for instance, you can see some kind of an animation based on data, real data provided by a company called Mobileye, sits in Jerusalem, actually. We have some kind of collaboration with them. This is a very modest data set analyzed here, shyly below 1 million records, samples of cars along 1 month in Manhattan. And you can see that just by giving the speed of the car and the location every time, we can actually mark roads, we can monitor traffic, we can show the distributions of the velocities at every given time, we can plot traffic loads and many other things. And I chose this example specifically because this is one of the examples I actually do with my students. So everything you can see here, all this animation, including the infographics and the plots and the analysis and the distributions, everything is actually skills that should be acquired in our courses, in our program. We should be able to do such analysis easily after graduating. All right, the second one is a bit more relevant. I just want to give a peek for Facebook data over Manhattan. It's related to the COVID pandemic we are now experiencing. And Facebook also has some agreements with the academy, and we can extract data from there. And here you can see some kind of a comparison. It is a map actually showing in each grid cell how many Facebook users joined or left the network in a given area. So here we see in New York, and this is March 5th. I'm not sure if you remember, but it was, we had very, very hard times in New York that time. And you can see exactly in which areas people left the city and evacuated maybe to the suburbs or to other town. Maybe we're talking just on people who work in the city and didn't show up. But this is another example where just based on data, in this example, you know, with some mobile crowdsourcing data, we can have a better way to monitor the city, to manage it, to manage disasters and stress times, and also, of course, for other applications. So I promised I'll be brief. I hope I hope it was short enough. Of course, I'll be delighted to answer any question you have by the end of this meeting. And I'm now, I have the honor to hand over the discussion to Galia Globerman. Galia, who undergraduated in the Hebrew University in the Department of Geography and International Relationships. And now she's working on her master's in urban planning, and she is also a social coordinator in Roten International School. So I'm sure she has a lot to elaborate on.
Thank you very much, Roten. Wow, I feel like I don't have anything to say after you introduced me. So hi everyone, my name is Galia. Like Roten said, I just finished a degree in geography and international relations, and I am done with my first semester in urban planning. I'm originally from Costa Rica, but I've been in Israel for almost 8 years, so kind of half and half. You decide where I belong to the most. So the first thing is, why did I choose Hebrew University? And originally I chose Hebrew University because of their international relations track. And when I came to choose my second major, I looked at geography and thought, you know what, this looks kind of cool. Little did I know that would be the best choice I made throughout my academic career. I absolutely loved studying in the geography faculty, so much so that I decided to stay for a master's. But I really, really enjoyed having a small group of students where you really get to know everyone on a one-on-one basis, instead of these programs that are hundreds of people that you will never really get to fully know after a few years. So I got to know basically everyone in my program. Everyone that came to the geography degree was amazing. I really became friends with most of the individuals there, some foreign, some Israeli. And I have to say that the staff, both the teaching staff and the administrative staff, have been extremely supportful. Although I haven't been able to take courses with Roten, unfortunately, all my classmates absolutely loved his courses, and I was also fortunate enough to take a course with Danny. So all I can say is really the professors are great and the administrative staff is super supportive. So if you're also looking to go somewhere where you will have personal attention and people will care about you and also give you the time of day, I mean, already just based on that, I think this is a great option. So that's really what HUJI is for you as a student. Jerusalem, I think the videos and Danny explained that well enough. It's a vibrant, diverse, complicated, fascinating place to live that you can only truly experience, in my opinion, by living here. So if you have the opportunity and the interest, I can also really recommend that. In terms of where you would want to live, because I'm also supposed to talk about your living options. Jerusalem's big, so you can live really wherever you want. If you are interested in living in the dorms, which could be for logistics reasons convenient, I have to say that it's pretty good. We had some Wi-Fi problems, but they resolved them. But in my opinion, the true benefits of living in the dorms are that you don't have to deal with legal documents, you don't have to deal with landlords, and everything gets repaired quickly. And while all those might be givens in other places in Jerusalem and Israel in general, that is not necessarily the case. Landlords can be difficult, contracts can be complicated, and repairs can either get done or not get done depending on your landlord. So I'd really say that that's the main advantage of living in the dorms. The main disadvantage, in my opinion, is that you don't live downtown. You don't live in the heart of Jerusalem. And if your experience is if you're coming to Israel to experience the heart of Jerusalem, then the dorms just aren't as close. It's just a light rail or a bus away, but it's not, you don't step out into the downtown. I also want to talk a little bit about my experience as a social coordinator. to give you a little bit of background of what it means to have our support in terms of student life. And the way I like to describe it is that we're here for your highest highs and your lowest lows. So we coordinate all the fun trips, after school, like after class talks, activities. I mean, I'm trying to think. Just a few weeks ago, I organized the beach cleanup with all the international students following the oil spill on the Israeli shores, and whoever wanted to come was able to join. And hopefully, if we'll see each other in person, there are also longer trips that we'll be able to plan. And then when I talk about the lowest lows is if you have some unfortunate emergency situation, we are here quite literally 24/7. Every single day of the year, there is someone who will answer a phone if you call the right number, and we are here to support you in every single way possible. If during Corona times, it meant helping people with their quarantine, getting vaccinating, getting their vaccination certificates, giving them food during their lockdown. We took care of all of that. And now that the restrictions are easing up, we're actually going back to doing trips and our normal programming. So hopefully that will continue on into the summer. Based on my experience with meeting international students, I can say it's really a privilege to meet most of the people that come and study here. Each and every student that I've met, I've had, for the most part, a very positive interaction with, and they tend to be very friendly. So if you're amongst those friendly faces that want to meet other international students, I think this is also a great environment to do so. That's basically my speech. All I can say is I really hope you choose to come study in this program and we get to meet in person after the summer. So thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you, Galia. And now I would like to pass it on to Ms. Amy Sarusi, the admission coordinator of the program. Amy, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. So welcome again. We're very happy to have you. I'm going to speak very briefly about the admissions process, about tuition, eligibility, and just a word on housing. Galia pretty much took care of that. So I'm going to screen share, and then afterwards we're going to open it up to questions. So I'll be reading aloud relevant questions and shooting them back to the relevant person to answer. So you're invited to use the chat now to send all of your questions, and we'll get to them in a minute. Tuition for the program. So tuition for the program is, it's a 2-semester program, like we said, 1 year. Tuition is $10,400, plus an additional $450 for mandatory study tours throughout the year that Professor Felsenstein spoke about. How do you apply to the program? So it's a very simple online form. The link is right here in the screen share. It can also be posted to the chat. You go in, you fill out the form, submit it, and then there are a number of documents that you need to apply, that you need to submit in addition. And I'll get to that in a minute. The application deadline is July 5th. Okay, so be aware of that. What are the admissions requirements? So all students, in order to be eligible for admission, you need to have an accredited bachelor's degree. If you're not sure if your degree is accredited or not, you're welcome to be in touch with me by mail. My email address can also be posted here, and I'm happy to follow up with you to check. So students need to have a minimum of a 3.2 out of 4 GPA. That's on the American scale, roughly a B, or an 80, 82 out of 100. Again, students who have a little bit of a lower GPA and still think that they would be good candidates for the program, we encourage you to be in touch. We're open to hearing about you and what your experience is and why you might still be unique for this program. What else? So you also need to submit a CV and a statement of purpose, 2 academic recommendations, or 1 academic, 1 professional, and proof of English proficiency. So students who did not study in a university in which the sole language of instruction is English need to submit an exam, a TOEFL or an IELTS exam, 80 or above on the TOEFL and a 6 or above on the IELTS. If you don't have either of these exams, or you think you might be exempt, or you want to know if there's any other way that you can fulfill this requirement, again, be in touch with me. And then the last component is a Zoom interview, which will be held with Professor Felsenstein and Dr. Baror. So any questions about this, I'm your contact person, and I'm happy to be in touch with you. Just a word, Galia spoke so much about housing, so you guys all have a better idea, just to give you a nice sense of what it looks like, what to expect. We have our Scopus Student Village. It's about a 5-10 minute walk away from campus. And students have their own private bedroom with a shared living room, kitchen, and bathroom. So that is that. So we're gonna open it up to questions. So I had some questions from before, and you guys are welcome to continue adding now. So somebody was asking, and I guess this is for Professor Felsenstein, Dr. Baror, you can decide who answers. I'm going to give you two questions together because they're both for you. So somebody is asking about internship or job opportunities and placement after the program. How does the program set them up to find work and or internships afterwards? And I'll just tack onto that. Somebody is asking also a question that will be for you, not connected, but somebody's asking how many days a week the students can expect to be studying in the program. So this is also something that you guys can answer.
Okay. Okay, so I'll provide the information. In fact, there was also a question about it. Does one need any prior knowledge in programming, which I'll relate to that as well. Although I answered it on the chat. So the first question is internships and placements in the job market. Formally, we do not have an internship course, in other words, a course that gives credits for internship. What we will be doing, though, is exposing you to potential employers and interacting with people who are either working in smart city solutions in industry or people who are using smart city solutions in the city hall. And what we call our field courses are going to be geared to that to a certain extent. So formally, we're not finding jobs for people because as this is an international program, we assume people want to get the knowledge and then return home and apply it in their own local environments. So formally, we are not engaged in internships and job finding, but informally, we will be exposing people to potential employers in the Jerusalem high-tech ecosystem. Some of these people will be coming in to give lectures. Some of these people will be hosting us on tours and so on. So that's in terms of interaction with the job market. Days of studying. This is still being finalized at the moment because it has to be done in sync with the social science faculty syllabus. But the way things are shaping up are as follows. Teaching formal classes will be held 2 days a week, probably on Mondays, both in the first and the second semesters. And then either on Tuesday or Wednesday, alternatively in the other, again, in the first or second semester. So there'll be 2 days a week of a formal classroom environment, always Monday throughout the first and the second semester. And the other semester will be, one of the days will be a Tuesday and the other day will be a Wednesday. That's in terms of formal classroom teaching. In addition, Thursday is usually the day for field work. And as I mentioned before, field work is an integral component of this course. And so you should also be prepared that from time to time, Thursdays will be taken up with getting out of the campus and getting into the field. So those are the days, that's in terms of the formal syllabus, but that will be publicized when the general university syllabus is finalized, probably the end of April, beginning of May. But reckon on 2 days a week formal classroom studies, and perhaps half a day or 1 day a week every now and again getting out on study tours. The final issue was, is any prior knowledge in programming needed? And the answer is no. We plan on bringing everyone up to scratch and starting at with a level playing field in terms of programming. And we're aware of the fact that some people will be coming with different backgrounds. So there's a good chance that we might run a boot camp, refresher course, crash course the week before the semester starts to introduce people who haven't got the requisite backgrounds to some of the basic skills they will need. That we will only be able to finalize when we get to see who the final class is how the class is going to shape up and what people's backgrounds are. So as I mentioned before, this is a social science program. It does involve a certain willingness to be exposed to computational and programming skills, but we will provide all the necessary instruction and pitch the courses accordingly. And we will do our utmost to make sure everybody starts roughly on the same level and moves forward together in that respect. Just one other point I want to make, which is connected to the nature of the program, and that is that this program is an international program taught in English, but in terms of its integration, it is integrated totally into the environment of the social science faculty. In other words, all classes will take place within the main social science building. All activities open to regular Israeli students within our department, which is a geography department, or within our faculty, which is the social science faculty, will be open obviously to the students of the Smart Cities and Urban Informatics program. We very much want to try and integrate this program within the mainstream university life, both socially and academically, and therefore we will do our utmost to make sure that this program is part and parcel of the social science faculty programs and life of the general academic and social life of the social science faculty will also extend to this program. So it might be a one-year program and it might be an English language program, but in terms of everything else, location, integration, and so on, it is integrally part of the social science faculty. Okay, so
thank you. So I'll give it back to you in a second, just to answer a couple of technical questions. So somebody wanted just a confirmation that the application deadline is July 5th. So that's correct. Somebody else was asking about the psychometry. So yes, usually we accept the Israeli psychometry as equivalent to the TOEFL or IELTS. I suggest just being in touch with me just so I can take a look at your score and give a formal final confirmation. Another technical question, somebody wrote in before that they're a third-year student in the Israeli program, in the bachelor's program, and they want to know if they've already taken some of these master's courses. So I recommend that you be in touch with Professor Spelsenstein independently. I think that's a bit of a special case. So you can send him an email. And then another academic question. So somebody is asking how much of the field is data collection, data analysis, and would we be problem solving / engineering the rollout of new technologies?
Yes, I will take that one, if I may. Yeah, so the intention is not to give you skills of a full software developer in some high-tech company or so. Just to be familiar with the terms, with the technique and the methodology of that is used actually in geospatial data and all of this field. So data collection and data analysis are only two parts where we actually just going to have, we're going to sample this and sample that. But the important thing is that you will acquire the tools that afterwards will enable you to extend and develop whatever direction you want to take afterwards. So you will have a strong wide basis, but if you would later on like to work as a software developer in, I don't know, Google Earth or similar ways, you will probably have to extend your knowledge in certain fields. As Danny said, it is a social science program. So the computational part of it is essential, and it is significant, but it's not dominant, I would say.
Thank you. Okay. Another one, I guess, for either of you. Somebody is asking, can you return after you finish with your bachelor's degree, even though it may be a few years out? So more broadly, is the program more directed at students who are just finishing a bachelor's and moving on directly for a master's, or is this also more directed to students who are perhaps a little bit older or have more work experience after having finished their bachelor's degree?
Okay, we're only too happy to have people with work experience and not fresh out of their BA degrees. Obviously, you need to come with an open mind and a willingness to learn and diversify your skill sets in areas that are pertinent to smart cities. But if there's the desire to learn and to be exposed to new ideas and to understand how smart cities operate and the models and tools that you need in order to tackle the challenges of smart cities, the fact that you might have got your bachelor's quite a few years back should not be of any shouldn't be a drawback, or shouldn't deter you from coming into this program. From my own experience, there's nothing better than having an age mix in the classroom, and what some people might lack in terms of current knowledge that they bring to the classroom in terms of their work experience, and that generally creates a nice equilibrium in the class. So as I said before, if you come with a desire to learn and to be challenged by smart cities, then there's no problem if you got your bachelor's degree some years back.
Okay, thank you. So I think we've gone to the end of the questions, but just to go back for a second, because in the beginning, there were questions about scholarships, so Mariah posted, we have 2 links on our website. We have a link for scholarships for US citizens, and because we have an office in New York, and then we have scholarships for citizens of other countries. I just want to come back and say you're also welcome to contact me about this. We have different kind of scholarships opportunities, and it's important to be in touch. I can help guide you depending on what country you're coming from and what to different relevant scholarship opportunities. So does anyone want to add? I see we're at the end of the questions. Does anyone want to add? Galia, Roten, Danny, Nama?
I can say that if I wouldn't be doing a degree in urban planning right now, I would probably be considering this program for myself. That's all I can say.
Thank you. We have somebody, Jessica is asking, I'm a US citizen and speak only English, but a year or so ago I began learning Hebrew to connect more to my Jewish heritage, and I love it. I would like to take classes in Hebrew. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. We have Hebrew classes at pretty much all different levels. It's for an extra fee. And also it's provided that it doesn't conflict with your required course schedule. But yes, most of our MA students are able to take Hebrew while they're here. And obviously we definitely recommend it, Hebrew, and I'm sure that everybody else can speak to this, but learning the language obviously opens you up to more professional and academic opportunities and obviously more social opportunities. Somebody's asking, do you have any tools online to help start improving your self-knowledge on the topic?
Okay, I'll answer that one. There is a world of tools online that I can direct you to that will allow you to boost your knowledge or start understanding topics that might be strange to you. And if and when the time comes, I'll be only too happy to guide you to some of these things that will be of that could be of assistance. But when we get to that bridge, we can definitely cross it. I would also like to stress that if anybody has any questions to do with the academic sides of the program, they're free. Please feel free to contact either Roten or myself. You can find all our details online. Be in touch with us offline to do with specific courses, to do with anything that might worry you about the academic aspects of the course. As was mentioned before, the admissions procedure also involves a short Zoom conversation with Roten and myself. So then we get to know each other a bit better, and we will be able to gauge exactly what people's requirements are in terms of prior knowledge. But again, this seems to be an issue that's coming up. I just want to allay any fears in that area. You know, we will do our utmost to make sure everybody starts this roughly on the same page and the same level. And as I mentioned before, if necessary, we will run some kind of refresher, introductory refresher boot camp a week before the semester begins in order to bring people up to scratch.
Are there any questions, or if not, thank you everyone for being here this evening with us. And I really hope to see at least some of you with us next year in Jerusalem. So thank you and bye-bye from Jerusalem.